Welcome to Expert Talks by Kalkine TV. I'm your host Sage, and today's guest is Ms Angie Lau, the Editor-in-Chief of Forkast News. And Forkast.news is a digital media platform headquartered in Hong Kong. It was founded in 2018 by Angie Lau, former Bloomberg news anchor. And the agency focuses on blockchain, cryptocurrency and emerging technologies in the Asia-Pacific region specifically. And as you know, we bring you the industry leaders, successful business owners all under the one roof to help you discover the insights of the stock markets. And you might already know of our guest today, Ms Angie Lau from Forkast News, the Editor-in-Chief. Welcome to the show, Angie.
To be here. Thanks so much for that kind introduction.
Well, thank you for making time for us. So please tell us about your successful online publication that focuses on the APAC blockchain news. When did you realise there was an opening for this type of news portal?
Well, you know, when I was at the anchor desk at Bloomberg, we were already starting to see the nascent stories emerging from this alternative asset class. And then hop, skip, and a jump a few years later, just kind of exploring more in depth as to the impact of the technology and potentially, how it could be used in media. And it was really out of that interest, curiosity, and already seeing its impact across many, many industries that I simply wanted to learn more, know more, and acquire as much as possible. And certainly I was not alone in this journey. And when I dived a little bit deeper as a journalist, we kind of know how to make our way around. And it even surprised me, even so, that there was really that lack of coverage and credibility and pedigree that our global audience is used to. And so recognizing that opportunity existed, and recognizing that none existed until Forkast really felt the need to serve this space. And so our audience really is the professionals, the senior executives, the senior decision makers across industries, the C-suite, who understand that this technology is very impactful, want to learn more. And we do that job of explaining it in language that everyone can understand. We explain it through impact and the impact that we're already seeing in this space from a business, political, economy, social perspective. And that's Forkast.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it's so true. The passion and the enthusiasm of the people in the space is so catchy, and the information data that they deal with is so high level that it can often go well above the heads of the ordinary person. So it's an incredible job that your team are doing to keep the information out there and being understood by the masses. So you've interviewed many leading names and visionaries from the crypto sector. How important, you've touched on it a little, but how important is the media's role as blockchain becomes more and more accepted into the mainstream?
Conscious of is that we are that bridge between the blockchain industry and mainstream audiences. Technology for technology's sake is simply going to live in just a very closed ecosystem, and that is not where the entire industry is headed. The enormous growth that we're seeing, the alternative asset classes that are being developed, the alternative application of this technology across the even traditional architecture and legacy systems that exist is really where this opportunity lay. It is critical in our view that people understand the technology through impact and how it's already influencing different ways of thinking about business, different ways of engaging with each other.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a human right for people to be educated and have their awareness raised, because there's a lot of institutional interest in this asset class at the moment. So China's most recent ban on crypto seems to have stirred the sector and is creating bustling crypto hubs in other business centres such as Singapore and maybe now Laos, and even in America with Texas accepting many businesses for crypto miners. What do you think are China's main aims for banning cryptocurrencies? Is it to focus on their digital yuan, in your opinion?
There's a lot of facets to why China is enacting this policy. It is not a surprise. It is just an increase in the application of this policy. There's many facets, as you've said. They've been working on a digital yuan, a digital currency, for the past now 8 years. They've got a massive head start. We will likely see something come to fruition on a global stage at the Winter Olympics in 2022. We've been reporting on the massive pilot trials that have been happening across the country with respect to that. Part of it is also the environmental goals of China to reach sustainability and lessen the carbon impact that it's promised to do. And as you know, crypto mining has taken a lot of these hydro and cheaper electric sources that allows it to mine crypto, mine Bitcoin, and the like. And so there's also that kind of environmental facet to it. Increasingly, because the industry is also very aware of these challenges, on the technology side, there is a reduction in the computational hardship and level of mining cryptocurrencies. So you're starting to hear, proof of work and proof of stake and all of these different kind of facets that allow the spend on electricity to be reduced. And so part of it is absolutely that there's a 1-2 punch when it comes to that. But China, at the end of the day, is committed to blockchain technology. And we are seeing policy support there with the Bitcoin, with BSN, the Blockchain Services Network, that we're seeing rolled out as well.
Yes, it's very interesting seeing the impact of the regulations and other big changes in the crypto world and how it affects the price of Bitcoin, because that's still something that needs to be demystified. It's still something that hasn't really been worked out yet, but it's definitely interesting to track and monitor. And some experts believe that gaming will be one way to allow DeFi systems to have a strong hold in the financial ecosphere. Some were keen to see the South Korean economy boom with the network of major semiconductor companies and supply chains. How do you think a ban on crypto will affect the South Korean economy?
There currently isn't a move to ban it, but enforce and restrict the regulatory aspect of it, and to create a much more defined regulatory lane, if you will, that defines that space. At the moment, South Korea had just enacted stricter guidelines that govern cryptocurrency exchanges. But the on-ramp might have been reduced to maybe a handful, whereas before there were about 60, 70 crypto exchanges. Now that there are only 4. However, despite the limited choice of on-ramps, the enormous appetite from South Koreans that have already existed and in this space of cryptocurrency and investing in it remain robust. And so that is really a space that both government and also private enterprise are exploring very deeply. To your point, it is a leapfrog moment for a lot of these in this region. And so the application, as you've said, using play to earn games, which we are increasingly seeing adoption of, allows the average person to engage in a new economy, a new gamified economy. But this what they're earning can also be seen as earning things that can become liquid in the more global crypto market. And so these are the exciting things that a lot of firms are exploring. At the end of the day, there's decentralized finance that allows people to engage as if they were banks themselves. This space has been enormously influential even in modern banking thinking. And so we're increasingly seeing centralized finance, or CFI, or legacy, more traditional firms thinking about how they can work and earn in this space. But Sage, at the end of the day, this is a technology that allows, for the very first time in our human capital history, for an individual to participate in the global economy. And that global economy, that opportunity to earn, exist, to transact at an individual peer-to-peer level, this is what this technology provides. And this is why we're seeing enormous growth in it.
Exactly right, Angie. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's about the democratisation of the existing system, and it is offering a lot of people a chance who didn't have that access to the bank account or the bank as we know it in remote regions. And it hasn't been an easy 18 months for businesses, with global pandemic downturns plus tensions in the South China Sea. And as a business leader, what was the most important lesson that you learned from sustaining your business through these times? What are your near-term goals as well, please?
That's a really great question. Our near-term goal is to continue to grow. In fact, if you'll allow me to share with your audience, we are launching our first ever virtual summit, Bitcoin and Beyond, November 10th. And I do encourage all of you to join us. This is a space that needs to be explored, to educate yourself, to inform yourself. This is going to define our next decades to come. I used to say that business in Asia was one of the most exciting stories of our age. I've redefined that and included emerging technologies, including blockchain and cryptocurrency, because these are creating alternative systems that are defining our future right now. As a journalist, these are exciting times. And so just head to www.forkast.news and you'll see some information there. That's FORKAST.news. But to your point, these have been very interesting times. These have been challenging times. Because of the pandemic, because of COVID and all the like. But for us, in truth, we continue to grow because we've already been a distributed and remote first team. We work with some of the best people around the world, and we are lucky enough to do so because we don't have a centralized office that demands their time or demands their commute to this single geographical pinpoint. We can work quickly, progressively, comprehensively with our team around the world that spans truly in every region. And you'll note as well that increasingly more and more of our media peers are talking about blockchain and crypto. It is no accident that our space has accelerated by at least fivefold because of the pandemic situation. And it is simply this: when people are forced to exist online in the metaverse, if you will, and these conversations are everyday reality for us increasingly more and more, when the whole world experiences that this is the digital age and digital transformation is critical for any company to really think about how it's going to remain intact and survive in the future. This has also unleashed a recognition that emerging technologies are not only influential and impactful, but meaningful at a time like this. And so it has accelerated the space. I'm happy to say that, we remain robust and we continue to grow. However, one of the challenges that I have as a leader is to make sure that our greatest investors are healthy and safe, and that our greatest investors are truly our team. They invest their talent, their time, their energy, blood, sweat, and tears to grow Forkast. And so I'm sure, as you know, it's tough to sometimes know when something stops and when something starts, especially, these boundaries are so undefined, especially when we're all working so hard. So one of the challenges that I have as the CEO and as a leader is just to make sure that those boundaries, even if it's not defined by my team and or ignored by the team, that I make sure that they're okay and that work life balance, try as hard as we might, exist.
That's great to hear, Angie. It's so important to have the team's morale and the synergy active and up there and thought about. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and for fitting us in your busy schedule. And it will be interesting to see what this programmable money, this digital asset will do for money. Could it possibly do what internet did for information? We definitely do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sage.
And if you've just joined us, we had an insightful discussion with Ms Angie Lau, Editor-in-Chief from Forkast News. Do check out their website. They have a brilliant summit coming up, Beyond Bitcoin, for November the 10th, and you can register via their website, Forkast News. The full recorded interview will be available via Kalkine Media's YouTube channel. Please keep watching Kalkine TV for more of the live expert talks and market updates. And as we say, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.